Okay, ready for this? We're taking a deep dive into this research paper called Defining AI Companions.
Oh, this looks interesting.
Yeah, it's all about how AI is going beyond just like a tool,
Right.
becoming more like a companion in our daily lives. And get this whole idea it goes all the way back to 1988.
1988, huh?
Yeah, researchers back then were already thinking about picturing AI as a study buddy. They were inspired by this ancient Chinese proverb, studying with the prince.
Hmm. Makes sense. I mean, learning with someone else can be way more effective.
Definitely.
And honestly, more fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's not just about having someone to like quiz you. It's more about those social and emotional connections that come into play.
Exactly.
But this paper doesn't stop there.
Oh.
It looks at how these AI companions could be used for way more than just learning, like to achieve something they call global Harwell.
Global horror.
Yeah, and it even puts forward this intriguing hypothesis about how general artificial companions could like shape the future. It suggests that AI companions could be a game changer in tackling those huge challenges that humanity is facing.
That's a big claim. So what does it even mean for AI to be a companion?
Right. It's not like we usually use that word for technology.
Yeah, we usually use it for like people or maybe our pets.
Exactly. So how does that even translate to artificial intelligence?
Like, it's a good question.
Well, the paper defines AI companions as these super advanced systems designed to support us and enhance our daily experiences, like learning or working or even socializing.
So it's more than just AI as a simple tool or an assistant then.
Definitely. This is about AI that gets our intellectual, emotional, and social needs and can interact with us on a much deeper level.
Ah, I see. So it's less about us controlling the AI
Right.
and more about this give and take relationship.
Exactly. Sometimes we'll be in the driver's seat, sometimes the AI will be. But it's all feeding into this shared experience or reaching a common goal.
I get it. It's like the difference between, say, using a calculator, which is like basic AI as a tool, and working with an AI that helps you write a poem, like throwing out suggestions, giving you feedback as you go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's getting closer to AI as a companion.
Exactly.
But, when we talk about AI being a companion, it's not just about having a digital buddy.
Right.
The paper digs into 6 core elements of what makes a true companion. Things like emotional support, doing activities together,
Yeah.
trust, dependability, mutual respect, open communication, and actually enjoying spending time together. These are what form a strong connection, whether it's with a human or with AI.
It's so different from how we usually think about AI.
I know.
It's usually purely transactional, like you ask it to do something and it does it.
Right.
But this paper is suggesting we're on the edge of something much bigger, where AI isn't just a tool. It's woven into our lives.
And that shift has huge implications, doesn't it?
Definitely.
If we start viewing AI as companions, we have to rethink how we design it, how we interact with it, even the ethical questions.
For sure. And speaking of how we design it, the paper dives deep into AI learning companions, or ALCs.
ALC?
And it distinguishes them from those traditional intelligent tutoring systems. ALCs are more like peers, not authority figures.
Oh, interesting. That's a crucial difference.
Right. A traditional intelligent tutoring system is like that know-it-all expert guiding you to the right answer.
Yeah, exactly.
But an ALC can actually learn alongside the human student.
Wow. So they don't have to be experts themselves.
Nope. They can make mistakes, be uncertain, and that opens up all these opportunities for learning and problem solving together.
It's like tapping into those powerful learning theories, like Vygotsky's zone of proximal development.
Yes.
The idea that we learn best when we're challenged just beyond what we can do, but have support.
Exactly.
And there's also that idea of cognitive conflict and resolution, where wrestling with different viewpoints leads to a deeper understanding.
Totally. And the paper brings up some cool examples of ALC systems from the past, like Integration Kit from 1991.
1991, wow.
Which helps students learn calculus. There was Distributed West, which lets students learn collaboratively or competitively across network computers. And then there were reciprocal tutoring systems, where the ALC could switch between being the tutor or the tutee.
It's amazing to see how this ALC concept has evolved over time. Those early systems used rule-based AI, right? Like the ALC's responses were pre-programmed.
Right.
But as technology got better, data-driven AI, especially machine learning, let ALCs adapt, tailor their interactions to what the student was doing.
And now with stuff like ChatGPT, that generative AI, the possibilities are even wider. ALCs can create text, images, even code. It unlocks all these new ways to support how we learn.
It's incredible how fast things are changing.
I know.
One thing the paper really focuses on is this concept of learning by teaching.
Oh, yeah. The best way to learn something is to teach it.
Right.
Exactly.
I've heard that.
Well, ALCs can act as those tutees,
Yeah.
Give the human student a chance to teach them.
That's cool. And there's actually research that supports this idea. Like students who know they'll be teaching something later actually do better.
Really?
Yeah, getting ready to teach helps you organize and solidify what you know. Plus, when you explain something to someone else, you have to understand it on a much deeper level. You can't just skate by on the surface.
That makes sense.
Right.
So are there any specific examples of systems designed for this?
Yeah, the paper mentions systems like Denise and Betty's brain.
Okay.
Denise lets students teach an ALC about economics, and Betty's brain uses concept maps to help students really lay out their understanding of a topic.
Those are some really neat examples. So we've talked about how AI has evolved from being just a tool to more of a companion, especially
Yeah.
when it comes to learning. But this paper takes it a step further.
Wow.
It presents this grand vision of something called global Harwell.
Global Harwell.
Tell me more.
Well, it's a catchy name, but what does it actually mean? It's like, think of a world where everyone feels safe, connected, and fulfilled. It combines harmony and well-being to create this aspirational goal for all of us.
That's a big idea.
It is. The paper connects it to Maslow's hierarchy of needs and Seligman's PERMA model, which highlight those different elements that contribute to a fulfilling life.
And it emphasizes how vital global harmony is for individual well-being, right? We can't really thrive if the world around us is a mess.
Exactly. It's about realizing how connected we all are.
Yeah.
Our individual well-being is linked to the well-being of our communities and the planet as a whole.
So how do we get to this global Harwell?
Well, the paper proposes something called the General Artificial Companions Hypothesis, GACH for short.
GACH.
It argues that general artificial companions powered by, advanced AI like an AGI, that's artificial general intelligence.
Yes, I've heard of that.
They will be lifelong companions for humans.
So more than just helping us with daily tasks or being a digital buddy.
Right. These GICs would be actively promoting global Harwell, like as a main value in how they interact with us.
Wow. The hypothesis even predicts that GACs will be responsible for at least 50% of a person's progress toward global Harwell.
It's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah, it makes you think about how AI could really help us solve some of the biggest problems we face.
Right, and what role each of us might play in that future.
Definitely something to consider as we move deeper into this age of AI.
Absolutely. It's a lot to process.
Food for thought. Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's look at how AI companions are already being used in specific subjects. Anything jump out at you?
Well, one that stood out to me was science education.
Science education, yeah.
The paper talks about how AI companions could be designed to, support inquiry-based learning.
Right, where students are encouraged to ask their own questions and kind of figure things out.
Exactly. It's about ditching that rote memorization and making it more hands-on, more engaging.
Yeah, for sure.
And the paper specifically mentions this question initiation-driven inquiry, or QEI approach. Yeah, it's a 6-step process that really focuses on those student-generated questions.
I like that, putting the student in the driver's seat.
Absolutely. And AI companions can play a huge role here. They can act as thinking tools to help students as they form those questions.
Right.
Research answers, come up with explanations, even design those science projects. They can also be, cultural vehicles, helping students understand those norms and practices of how scientists actually work.
I love that idea. AI is a cultural vehicle. That's so interesting.
Right. It's not just about learning the facts. It's about understanding, how scientists think and approach those problems.
Yeah, it's like giving them a glimpse into that world.
Exactly. And ALCs can even help students create these reflective portfolios, like, to track their own learning progress and see where they might need help.
It's like a personalized learning dashboard. Pretty cool. So moving on from science, the paper also talks about using AI companions in social sciences.
Right. Social sciences are all about understanding human behavior societies.
Right.
And the paper suggests that AI companions could be really great at facilitating those collaborative problem solving and hands-on projects.
Like working together to solve a problem.
Exactly. They give this example of issue-based learning games where students team up to tackle, those complex social issues.
Okay.
And the AI can act as a consultant, offering insights, suggesting strategies,
Hmm.
even providing emotional support as students are working through those, tough decisions.
It's like having this super informed advisor there to help you think through the different sides of a problem.
Right, someone to bounce ideas off of.
And the AI can adapt to each student,
Um,
act as a tutor, a tutee, or a partner.
Exactly, tailoring that learning experience.
Okay, so then the paper also points out how useful AI companions could be in ESL, uh, English as a second language learning.
ESL, right? One of the biggest challenges for ESL learners is, just getting enough chances to practice actually speaking English.
Yeah, traditional methods like classroom conversation, they can be limiting.
Right, and finding language partners isn't always easy.
So AI could be that conversation partner on tap 24/7.
Exactly. And with those advances in speech recognition and synthesis and generative AI, these AI companions can understand the learner's level and tailor the practice.
It's like having a personal English tutor right in your pocket.
Precisely. Now let's switch gears to reading.
Reading, okay.
The paper focuses on how AI companions could be used to make reading more engaging,
Okay.
especially for kids.
Yeah.
Imagine an AI that generates, relevant comments as the child is reading.
Okay.
So instead of just reading silently, they've got this companion reacting to the story, asking questions.
It makes it interactive.
Exactly, making it more immersive, It's like having a friend there with you, sharing their thoughts and feelings about the story.
And I bet that would be especially helpful for kids who, struggle with reading or haven't quite discovered how fun it can be.
Right. It's all about sparking that love of reading.
For sure. And speaking of stories, the paper also talks about how AI companions can be used to improve writing skills.
Oh, interesting.
And this is key, fostering a love of writing.
That's so important.
They talk about a few different approaches like writing habitually, encouraging daily practice.
You make it a habit.
And then there's writing curiously, prompting students to ask questions and explore those different perspectives. And then writing better and better, emphasizing, revising, and improving. And then writing longer and longer, challenging students to take on those more ambitious projects.
I like how they break it down.
Right.
What's really cool is how AI companions can offer that personalized feedback and support throughout the whole process.
So it's more than just catching grammar mistakes.
Right. It's about helping students develop their ideas, organize their thoughts, and become more effective communicators.
Right. So by providing that individualized support,
Yeah.
AI companions can help students not only become better writers, but also really develop an appreciation for writing.
Exactly. So, all right, let's move on to mathematics.
Math. Okay.
AI companions have a ton of potential in math education, They can create these individualized and adaptive learning experiences, offering insights and strategies tailored to each student.
So if a student's stuck on a concept, the AI can step in with extra practice or hints, or even explain it in a way that makes sense to them.
Right, and it can track the student's progress, adjust the difficulty, create a learning experience that's, perfectly matched to their needs.
Like having a personal math tutor whenever you need it.
Exactly.
Okay, so what about computational thinking?
Computational thinking. Yeah.
That's all about applying those principles of computer science to solve problems, right? It's becoming such a crucial skill.
It really is, and AI companions can be amazing tools for teaching it,
How so?
They can help break down those complex problems into smaller steps, help students spot those patterns, and guide them through creating algorithms and evaluating solutions.
It's like having a mentor, showing you how to think like a computer scientist.
Precisely. By giving that support, AI companions can make computational thinking more accessible, more engaging.
Okay, so we've seen how these AI companions are being used in all these different educational settings, but the paper argues that their potential goes way beyond just boosting learning outcomes.
You're right.
It paints this picture of AI being integrated into almost every aspect of our lives, and that's where it gets really interesting. So they call it a seamless AI world, or SAIW.
SAIW, okay.
It's where AI is like woven into, well, practically every part of our lives.
They believe AI companions will be essential for, for helping us reach that global Harwell we talked about.
Yeah, that's a big goal.
It is, and they do recognize the challenges that come with that, like how do we even design AI companions that are, well, ethically sound and truly promote, global harmony and well-being?
That's a tough question. And it's not just about the technology itself, is it?
It's not, no.
It's also about the values and intentions of the people who are creating and using it.
Absolutely. The paper talks about how crucial it is to develop these systems that aren't just intelligent,
Right.
but also ethically, emotionally, and socially aware. Like, it's got to be AI that gets human values, you know?
That makes sense. And this brings us to, well, the quest for artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
AGI, right. That's AI that can perform like a human across a bunch of different tasks.
Yeah, it's not just good at one thing. It can think and learn and adapt, kind of like how we do.
Exactly. And the authors think AGI is like the key to creating AI companions that can truly help us get to global Harwell. They propose this thing called the General Artificial Companions Hypothesis, or GAC.
Okay, so break down this GACH for me. What is it?
So the GACH is this idea that like in the future we'll all have these lifelong AI companions, or GACs,
Yeah.
powered by AGI.
So instead of just, helping us with daily tasks or just being like a digital buddy, these GACs would be actively promoting global harmony and well-being.
Right, like it would be a core part of how they interact with us.
And the hypothesis even predicts that GACs will be responsible for at least 50% of a person's development toward global Harwell.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. It's pretty wild to think about.
It really is.
Yeah.
So how would that even work practically? I mean, how could an AI companion influence our values and behaviors that much?
Well, imagine you have this companion that's constantly like learning about you, understanding your strengths and weaknesses, your hopes, fears, values, beliefs. It's like this mirror that reflects back not only who you are, but who you could become.
Hmm. And it could then nudge you, in subtle ways maybe, towards making choices that are more in line with global Harwell.
Right. Suggesting activities, encouraging you to, I don't know, adopt more sustainable practices, or even helping you navigate conflict peacefully.
So the AI becomes like a partner in our personal growth, helping us be better versions of ourselves.
Exactly. Versions that are more compassionate, more understanding, and more dedicated to, well, building a better world.
It's a pretty powerful vision. But we have to think about the ethical side of things too, right? How do we make sure these GACs aren't manipulating us or crossing those privacy lines?
Absolutely. And the paper does touch on those ethical concerns. It's a huge deal, really. Developing AGI and GXCs has to be guided by strong ethical principles. We got to make sure they're transparent, accountable, and that they are aligned with human values. It can't be like an afterthought.
And the paper emphasizes how creating GACs needs to be this big collaborative effort, right? It's not just AI researchers.
Right. It's got to involve ethicists, social scientists, educators, policymakers, everyone. Because everyone has a stake in this. We got to ensure that AI is developed and used to benefit humanity.
And it all starts with education, like teaching kids about global Harwell now, right?
Instilling those values of harmony, well-being, and sustainability, like right from the start.
Because ultimately, the future of AI depends on the values of, well, the people creating and using it.
It really does.
If we wanted to help us build a better world, we need to start by, building a better world ourselves. It's a two-way street.
It is.
This paper really gave us a lot to think about, huh?
So much.
It's this picture of a future where AI companions are more than tools. They're partners in our journey as individuals and as a society to create a more harmonious and flourishing world.
It's a powerful image.
This whole concept of a general artificial companion helping us reach that global Harwell is, well, pretty mind-blowing. And it leaves us with a big question. If this global Harwell is the goal of AI, how do we get there? What role do we each play? Something to ponder as we move through this, well, this exciting and sometimes kind of daunting age of AI.